The Grand Budapest Hotel, a 2014 crime comedy film written and directed by the artistic prodigy Wes Anderson, perfectly balances the elements of light and dark humour with emotional weight. This, of course, is heightened by the executed cinematography of Robert Newman to draw narrative and apply emotional meaning. Every camera turn, position, and movement has been carefully planned out to provoke the audience and apply further psychological definition to the narrative, whilst maintaining the distinctive style of Anderson. His work often portrays scenes in a front-on, symmetrical view that appears more like intricate pieces of art than a film. Ignoring the regular angular views of film today, Anderson refers to the silent film era with the stationary cameras that film similarly to how an audience watch a play. The constant use of symmetry is often criticised or loved by critics, making him a controversial director in terms of artistic choice. Some may say the focus on artistry disassociates his work from the category of film and avoids meaning. He draws attention away from the narrative to focalise his artistic choices. However, I believe these decisions amplify the emotional weight of the scenes and further impacts our empathetic response as audience members as the film draws to a conclusion of equilibrium. The traditional viewing of a play limits emotional response due to its alienation of the audience. They are aware it's a play, therefore, spectators are not emotionally invested in what the characters are experiencing due to the front-on perspective they see, among other artistic choices. Wes Anderson's distinctive style replicates this through his front-on camera shots and symmetrical sets. We acknowledge the weird, unrealistic yet charming aspects of the film we can't relate to and therefore don't associate ourselves with the characters or share their emotions. So, how does the Grand Budapest Hotel provoke an intense emotional response in the ending scene despite its prior created disassociation?
He was one of them. What more is there to say?
What happened in the end?
In the end, they shot him. So it all went to me.
The sequence I will be referring to begins with a long shot representing a portrait of Mr. Gustav and his team standing in front of a painting, Gustav in the centre appearing powerful and at the top of his game. This is also represented through the presence of the deer in the background. Gustav's social status and sense of authority are symbolised through the deer's height, as it overlooks the scene, appearing powerful and assured. This shot and the use of metaphorical set design has a massive impact as the audience understand the status and influence Mr. Gustav has throughout the narrative. As the sequence progresses in a linear way, the metaphorical meaning of the deer shifts. It still represents power, but in the perspective of Zero, now that he owns the Grand Budapest. The deer communicates the same level of wealth and status, yet also the character's mental state as his feelings of isolation become clearer, reinforced by the lack of people surrounded by in the empty room. Zero's wealth is also supported by the props seen in the shot through mise-en-scène. Crystal glasses, which are the original focus of the shot, indicate a dramatic change in wealth Zero has fallen into and how his circumstances changed from the previous shot. Seeing this, we immediately sympathise, provoked by visual imagery that indicates the ongoing sadness of Zero during his later years. The support Mr. Gustav received from his team is reinforced by the costumes of the workers in the first shot of the sequence. The co-workers are all wearing purple attire despite being of different social and work statuses within the hotel. Through having a major consistency between the outfits, Mr. Gustav appears to be a member of a team, blending hierarchy and therefore not feeling alone. The colour itself represents wealth and ambition, further implying Gustav is at the top of his game. However, it can also connote arrogance. As the shot changes to Zero in his later years, he is wearing a dark purple suit while sitting across from the writer in grey. This highlights a growing sense of negativity surrounding Zero as he came into the possession of the Grand Budapest Hotel, and the peaking gloom he feels due to not having a team to identify with. This further triggers our emotional response to Zero's line. We are provoked emotionally to sympathise with Zero, having realised the play-like occurrences of the film impacted a person, shaping their life forever and isolating them. Zero's isolation transitions greatly during the sequence due to the symbolic cinematography use. For example, the aspect ratio has changed between the two shots, shifting from a 1.375 to 1 format, often referred to as the Academy ratio, to a 2.35 to 1 widescreen, which originated in the 1950s. The widescreen medium shot causes the two characters to look further apart, as the short distance between the camera and actors isolates them on both ends of the wide frame, causing their relationship to look distant. However, pairing this with a dolly shot after Zero's melancholy reveal as he finishes his recount of how he came to own the hotel, and reversing the camera revealed more of the characters, their surroundings, and gradually pulled them closer together, therefore showing the growing closeness and shared understanding between the two. As the shot progressed, more of the background was revealed, showcasing the guest-staffed hotel and the passive abandonment Zero feels despite his wealth and success. Unlike Mr. Gustav, he doesn't have a reliable team he can trust. His ongoing pain and isolation is revealed, similar to the deer which becomes clearer and clearer in the background of the scene. Therefore, as an audience, the visual imagery of the scene and its juxtaposing imagery of success and loneliness forces us to connect in the final moments as the conclusion fades between time, and we feel a sense of loss and empathy for the world that had vanished long before he ever entered it.